Hello, this is Pixie Lamb doing his vid today. Yeah, basically I'm just showing you just before this main part of the video will be my orgone pyramids and some of these cactuses that I've started to work with. That's fine. And there we go, come on. Dodge you mad, traffic sometimes. Right. So yeah, so basically I've got this new Peyotes cactus, and you'll see it's got a magnet on top of it, so it's having a bit of magnet therapy. It's just because it's travelled over from somewhere like Amsterdam, I can't remember where, or it could be Spain, and I've also repotted it, and it's got all these pups attached to it as well, and it was in a small pot, and it was almost going to split open. It was like something out of Little Shop of Horrors. You sort of expected to find legs when I took it out of the pot or something, or asked for blood. So yeah, so it's been repotted. It's a really cute plant actually, and I found you don't even have to eat it. So you can actually stroke the thing, or you can, if you're quite sensitive anyway, you can kind of use a bit kind of like a Reiki type of technique on it, where you could basically project your energy into it and draw it back in, and or draw energy through it like some kind of divining rod, because there's energy everywhere around you. I mean, you don't. What it is harmonising the frequencies. There's a lot of stuff that people do with qigong and stuff like that, because they just want to get the right type of frequency and clear blockages and stuff like that. So that's a part of that. What I put before in the video, and the other ones are San Pedro type cactuses, and so I'm just sort of growing them, doing my medicinal research. I started feeding it. I started feeding them a bit of ormus as well, almost mixing them with water. I just want to be careful because I fed mixtures before. Like I tried to use a bit of some form of plant cannibalism. I tried to make something using bananas that I fed back to a plant and made it ill. And that may be because of the actual time of when the starch was breaking down in the banana. Could be a factor. So yeah, definitely interesting thing to do with plants. I'm looking at more medicinal plants. What happens, I think, is you receive a kind of, get to a certain stage in life when you're doing on the spiritual side of planes of, you know, consciousness, etc. And you'll start doing research in some medicinal plants and stuff like that. And right. So anyway, I'm doing nothing too crazy. I'm just trying to keep away from a van. It's quite tight. So that's one thing you do when you just sort of drive in, is that so you wouldn't get in my lane anyway, which is fine. I don't mind about that. The concern I had is because it went two different directions where I could have gone. They assumed I might not wanted to travel in a straight line, and as a result he's blocked me out. So yeah, I mean, we're all on spiritual journeys. I've made some really good, interesting discoveries. I think there's stuff in the chaos maths and numerology that people need to have a look at, especially around 3, 6 and 9. I mean, I've got a lucky number and it's 7, and if I add 9 to that, keep adding 9, all the numbers it produces you can add together and create 7 again. But also these numbers keep turning up throughout my life. So 16, you know, like had 9 and 7, 16, then you got 25, and then so on. So that may work for you. I don't know if you've got a lucky number. You may find a pattern in there, and it's looking for something different to kind of a Fibonacci ratio. Of course, Fibonacci didn't come up with it originally. It goes back to India. Some of the older sort of culture there. There's a lot of stuff that's transcribed across, so it's probably more Mason type territory where they've translated old books, and only the privileged can get to read them. So yeah, that's definitely a factor. So other concerns I've got is environmental warfare, and I mean, I'm not going to jump in and say, oh yeah, NASA's created a hurricane over America. It could be possible that you could keep a high in place, which would force the hurricanes into a different direction. That's definitely true. And I mean, it'd be a perfect situation if you want to cause mass migration in the US, is that you heavily flood areas, you displace the people, then you put them into FEMA camps, and then you can do what you like. You can give them vaccines in there, or you can spray them with things in the air above them, so they breathe it in. They're already weakened anyway, their immune system. You could release, like the Zika, it's perfect now. You've got a flooded, swampy environment. Just shove your Zika type mosquitoes in there, and then people can go off and have their birth defects. And it's also targeting poorer areas that people I've heard as well, where you're more likely to get vulnerable people, so you can sort of take advantage of them, which is a sad reality, and it's a part of this depopulation stuff. I mean, it'd be better if they just educated people in different ways. With their desire to depopulate them, they should make them richer, to be honest. Not actually make them poorer, because that makes them want to breed them all. Because it's a survival mechanism. You know, if you lose children, disease, there's a part where you're impoverished, you need to breed quicker so that you increase your chances of survival. And that's what goes on with families. And then they create a welfare structure whereby if the more children you have, the more you'll be paid, and these represent society. But what they don't tell you is that in order to get paid, they need to experiment on your children, like put them into education systems and give them vaccines and put things in place that might be mandatory. So as long as you hand them over to the state will pay you for the use of them. I mean, if you pulled yourself out of the state, you might still be on the welfare system, but you'd have a lot of nosy people looking into things, like social workers find out why your children are not engaging with the things they want you to engage with. Or if you wanted to teach, if you want to home educate your children, that would be dangerous. They'll consider it, just in case you want to teach them survival skills or something else, like you might have a course of being a prepper. That might be quite interesting. I think they go to scouts, but they don't really touch on things too deep, just basic survival. And it's not, some of my beliefs are not based on sort of I'm against the state, I hate the state or anything like that. I just don't want to be taken advantage by people that don't know me, who have got too much power basically, and it's corrupted them. Because there's nothing in check to regulate them, so they probably need to create an AI system to regulate the elites' thinking patterns. Because it's risky business, they could do some real serious harm. I mean, once the nuclear bombs start going off, it's irreversible. So a lot of it's propagating war. This North Korea stuff, I think, is a distraction. You've got all this weather stuff happening in the US. You've got earthquakes that are coming across as well. You've got I can't remember if it's a Rothschild or some ultra-rich person that's removed a lot of his shares, cashed them in or moved them away, so he's taken them out of the US So that usually is an indication of something planned, or warnings of something about to happen. I seem to be hearing every morning sort of this throbbing in my ear, and I can't tell what it is. And I had a very strange experience yesterday. I had this like, something might be in the room, so I'm not really bothered if it didn't feel aggressive, it felt a bit weird. It's probably like a grey or something. I don't know why they're so obsessed sort of monitoring and watching people. And why they don't try to communicate a bit more openly, it doesn't make sense. But maybe there's reasons. Maybe they've had disasters in the past where they've got too involved with cultures. So yeah, so I had it's like throbbing in my ears, and it's sort of, it does feel like you could be targeted by something, or well, I feel like I could be targeted by something. It could be that I'm having I did come across something like some sort of download, something's trying to transmit energy into my body or something. It happens at night quite a bit. At dawn I thought it might be the old Nibiru, because it's not so distant thing now, it's getting closer. I'd assume if it exists, it could be a big hoax, you know. It could be that there's sort of like, I mean, if you think of it, if you're gonna, this is how they've always done things, is they funded two sides, and when I say they, I just mean like some invisible enemy, and like a Rothschild or government, CIA and so on. They would fund both sides, so the Liberals, the Conservatives, whatever. So we got the sort of alternative, slightly anti-authority, but they've been pushed that way. So a lot of the presenters are anti-authority, so they tell them to follow certain types of narratives. So they tell them half-truths, they tell them, you know, like MK Ultra, and then they might throw a couple of names in the pot that don't actually belong. But then now you suspect them of being the enemies, you know. It's a bit like, who am I thinking of? It come back to me a bit. John Podesta. Now he could be somebody really, really sick in the head, or he could have been targeted because he was Hillary's right-hand man. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust any of them. But then nobody's looking at the cabinet in Trump's. You know, is there any Pizzagate perpetrators, I guess? And when I guess Pizzagate, I'm not just on about the pizzeria, I'm on about anything that involves trafficking of children to basically sexually abuse them and eat them, basically. It's not. It's never straightforward, this world. There's lots of stuff going on in the background that we never know about. And so we'll always be left out of the loop of a lot of things that go on. You've got to keep an open mind, like I say. Things are being released so they can attack individuals. Some other interesting stuff, I was sort of looking at forecasting into the future, what could happen. You've got relationship with Prince Harry, and we'll stop here for a second. So you've got stuff, Prince Harry and his Meghan, and she's being American. He could have given the opportunity to create a kind of American-type monarchy. All he needed is a palace over there. She instantly gets royal titles, but it's only if there was something, a way of pushing it into America would be interesting. So you'd have like Duke of Michigan or something, or something like that. It'd be quite interesting. But it's definitely on the card. It's very interesting as well because of the race politics with the royal family. That he's married somebody, well, he's interested in somebody, it may lead to marriage, may not. Something I forgot to mention is when I had this dream last night. It was somebody I know from the past, but I started to kiss her. I started French kissing her, and then shortly after I sort of woke up. But it felt very strange because I could feel the sensation a little bit too surreal, and felt like possibly could be something like an abduction type thing. I was laid up cold and something actually was inside my mouth. So it's like the worst kind of nightmare. See, you have a dream of something really nice, but then you wake up and find out you're getting face hugged by something, or like you can almost imagine that scary sort of horror film about aliens when they got their tongue down their throat. So yeah, so it's just very strange because it had sensations of touch, and you know, sometimes it is possible that you can like touch something in your sleep and so on, and then you can get that sensation, but I just think it's a bit weird. So yeah, so anyway, this is Pigsy finishing the video.